It's time for the one and the only show. It's the Luke Howard Show live. Well, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I love doing my introductions every single day of this week, but only Wednesday to Saturday this week, so, because of my little summer break. But I am back this week, of course, my third show in already, blimey. So, welcome to the show. Friday the 4th of September is the date today. Getting you all ready for the weekends today and tomorrow, because, of course, I am here tomorrow. The Saturday shows are back tomorrow, of course. So, and then from next Saturday, I've got a brand new name on the one and the only show. It's not going to be called the Luke Howard Show anymore. It is going to be called Luke Howard Live. Here we go. Luke Howard Live. It's what it is going to be called, as I just said. Luke Howard Live from 10 a.m. every Saturday. It is, of course, me, Luke Howard, the one and the only. For those of you who are thinking of who the heck I am Luke Howard, the one and the only, and I do present Britain's Best Radio Show, of course, and from 10 till 10:45. So, yes, coming up on the show today, then, we are going to be talking about news that, of course, has been breaking. The day's news. We've also got topical discussions to come as well on the show, and we're also going to be playing great music. We've got entertainment, and it's all kicking off on the one and the only show, the Luke Howard Show. So sit back and relax and do what I've done. Make yourselves a cup of wild apple and cinnamon tea, courtesy of Pucker Teas, which is what I've got right in front of me right now. So, okay, that's what we got coming up on the show today. But first, to get in touch with Britain's Best Radio Show, text the word talk and your name to 07593 847 105. You can start with the word talk and your name. Do let us know whereabouts in the country you are, not house number or anything like that, just what town or county you're in. Or you can also get in touch with the show via Instagram. It is the Luke Howard fan page. Get in touch with the show via Instagram. The Luke Howard fan page is the way to get in touch with the show. Or you can also use the hashtags. Hashtag Luke Howard, hashtag Luke Howard Show, hashtag one and only, and hashtag listen to the Luke Howard Show. Or you could also now, yes, I have finally got my emails back up and running. 345-457 at student.hrc.ac.uk. You can now get in touch with me via emails, which is great. So do get in touch with me via emails. 345-457 at student.hrc.ac.uk and Gary J. Howard 68 at hotmail.com. Lots of great ways to get in touch with the one and the only show, the Luke Howard Show today. We'd love to hear from you. We really would. So go ahead and get in touch. Be my guest. So, yesterday, I had a nice day. Went to Bishop Stortford. There's some lovely shops there, Went to Mr. Sims, and I got tons of Buchanan's chocolate peppermint creams. I can't stop eating them. I know. And, of course, we also went to a chocolate shop called Coco's Chocolatiers, and we also went to Hotel Chocolat. And then we also went for a really nice, I'm not being funny, but I went for a really nice jacket potato at the tea rooms called the Rosie Lee Tea Rooms in Bishop Stortford, and it was really, really nice. I had this beautiful jacket potato, and for dessert, I had a lovely cupcake. It was delicious. It was busy when we first got there, and then of course it all died down by about 2 o'clock, because obviously it was lunchtime. But it was a really nice place to go to, okay? It's called Rosie Lee in Bishop Stortford. The ladies were all lovely. They do fresh food, fresh homemade cakes. It's absolutely delicious. So get yourselves down to Rosie Lee in Bishop Stortford. Very, very nice. And I'll let them know that I gave them a mention on Britain's Best Radio Show today. I will let them know. Of course I will. I'll definitely let them know. I'll let Rosie Lee know they had a nice mention on the one and only show, the Luke Howard Show. So, back to today's show then, because we are now going to talk about what's in the news today. Now, I did look at the news this morning, okay, and there was a big piece of news saying that the coronavirus quarantine rules is different across the UK, confusing. Of course, we are talking about, we got a coronavirus a bit now to talk about, so we are going to talk about that, and it's Grant Shapps has said a lot. So, The differences in the UK quarantine rules are confusing for travellers. Now, Grant Shapps has admitted as the developed nations could take varying approaches to international travel. Is that true? We were all sure. Of course it is. But the Transport Secretary, this is acknowledge people's frustrations as I think it was Scotland and Wales asked arrivals from Portugal and Paris of Greece to isolate, but England and Northern Ireland have held off. Now, including only 6 Greek islands, they all began at 4 o'clock in the morning on BST on Friday just gone. Last Friday. Was it Friday? Today. This morning. Now, some holiday makers, of course, because people are still going on holiday, okay? People are still on holiday. I hope everyone's well, by the way, and are having a nice week so far. And that was my introduction, by the way, and we're now going into the pieces of news, which is what we are talking about. So holiday makers from England, they all say that they have spent huge amounts of money to avoid quarantine that is, for now, will not be in place. Now, while Wales has advised and has already changed arrivals to Scotland from Portugal, and the French Polynesia will also have to self-isolate on Saturday, tomorrow. Now, Scotland has already recruited quarantine for arrivals from Greece. Now, Portugal, Greece and the French Polynesia are still on England and Northern Ireland's list of travel corridors. Now, Mr. Sharps has told BBC Breakfast the difference in quarantine rules was similar to the way lockdown had been appealed across the UK. And I am starting to feel like that things are sort of easing down now, aren't they? I mean, it's sort of easing down, so it's okay. It must be all right. But it is similar, unfortunately, with the quarantining, which they all looked at the data, and then they do speak, but they're all afraid that they quite often come in slightly different outcomes, which they all appreciate is confusing for people. They described Portugal as being on a borderline. This is adding that the opinion of England and Northern Ireland is that it did not justify quarantine in that week. But hinting all disagreement with the decisions by Wales and Scotland, Mr. Shapps has told the Radio 4, which is a radio company, a radio show, that another radio show, not our radio show, a different one by the way, has jumped the gun by introducing restrictions to arrivals from the whole of Greece. Now, they are very keen and do try to coordinate with the other administrations so that they can both announce at the same time, and they ideally both announce the same things, and the week that doesn't really work out. But the 7-day infection rate, this is in Portugal. Yeah, let's talk a bit about Portugal then, shall we? Because it has increased 15.3% to 23 per 100,000 people. And there is above the threshold of 20, which is when the UK government generally considers triggering quarantine conditions. Now, Mr. Shapps has explained the cases for 100,000 people, which are just one measure taken into account with the possibility rate of tests. Now, he also said that he declined recently, also as a factor. But he warned, as they constantly say, they will have to be moved quickly if the figures do change. The latest quarantine rules have introduced in Wales also appeal to travellers from Gilbertina, the 6 Greek islands. The rules apply to Crete, Mapologis, Lacanina, to Zenti, Levos, Paris and Antipolis, and Scotland has reintroduced self-isolation measures for arrivals from Greece and early in the week, and has since added that Portugal and the French Polynesia is its list of countries requiring quarantine. Now, the week's data has shown that an increase in test positivity, the cases per 100,000 in Portugal, and has said that Scottish Justice Minister Hamzi Youssef. Now, Greece's rate overall is below the 20 cases per 100,000 threshold at 13.8 in 7 days. And this is up until the 2nd, which was yesterday, wasn't it? No, Wednesday. The 2nd of September was on Wednesday, and it was down from 14.9 a week earlier. announcing that there were no additions or removals to England's quarantine extension list. The UK Transport Security Grant SHAPS said yesterday that we continue to keep the travel corridor list under a constant review and won't hesitate to remove countries if needed. Now, the Northerners holidaymakers are reminded 14-day quarantine countries can and do change at very short notice. Northern Ireland's Department of Health also confirmed that it would not make any further changes at present. Now, the variety of rules across the 4 UK nations has drawn criticism from industry, experts, and of course holidaymakers as well. The quarantine policy is in tatters, said Paul Charles, the chief executive of travel consultancy firm the PS agency. Now, consumers are totally confused by the different approaches, and it's impossible to understand the government's own critical anymore on when to add or remove a country. He called for a change in strategy at the weekly announcements have caused anxiety and financial pain for consumers and travel firms. Now, in a normal year, more than 2 million Britons do visit Portugal, but obviously this year, there's none at all. But the most do head to the Algarve in the south, and it's also drawn by sunny Atlantic beaches, pressure fishing villages, and of course golf courses. But Kelly from Birmingham and her family changed the flights home from the Algarve on Saturday to Friday at a cost of £900 to avoid potential quarantine because did not want her children to miss out on 2 weeks of school. The 45-year-old said that the situation was absolutely disgusting. She was absolutely disgusting. But it's also cost us a lot more money, and it's money that we didn't need to spend now, and we've lost an extra night on our villa, and we don't get that back. And we've got a hire car, so we're all taking that back a day early. Now, let's press on a little, because Rory Boland, editor of Which Travel, he said that days of speculation around the announcement meant that many people rushed to pay exponential prices, only to now, I think it's find out that there was no need. The government knows, though, that they yet is continued to offer no clarifier around their decisions are made. And Greece is even more, as well, complicated, as the Welsh government is obviously, my mum's friend's sister, she's out in Greece at the moment, so, yes, she said there's no one out there. Well, of course there's no one out there. No one's going out there at the moment with all this going on. But the Greek islands have to self-isolate. Well, of course they do. And, Scotland has introduced a quarantine for arrivals from across Greece. Yeah, my mum's friend's sister, she's out in Greece at the moment. And she texted my mum's friend and said, there's no one out here. I'm having a great time. And of course there's not going to be anyone out there. Everyone's bloody self-isolating. But Greece is even more complicated at the Welsh government, and it's opting for a policy where only people do arrive from certain Greek islands that have to self-isolate, while Scotland has introduced a quarantine to arrivals from across Greece. The quarantine has hit them hard, has hit them very hard, or impossible to police. Right, we'll leave that story there, I think, because I want to move on and talk about the HS2 RAL project, which does work, begins with people to 22,000 jobs. Now, the construction work of the HS2 officially begins today with companies behind the controversial high-speed rail project. It's ready to create 22,000 jobs in the next few years. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the HS2 would fire up economic growth and help to Birmingham's opportunity. Now, he applauds the rail link in February before lockdown restrictions, of course, with the formal government approval granted in April despite lockdown. But critics said the HS2 will also cost jobs and vowed to continue the processing. The HS2 is set to link London, Birmingham and Manchester and Leeds, and is hoped the 20-year project will reduce passenger overcrowding and help rebalance the UK's economy through investment in transport links outside London. Now, when the project was mooted in 2009, it was expected to cost an estimated £37.5 billion, and when the official price tag was set out in 2015, the budget came in just under £5 billion. Now, some critics of the HS2 describe it as a veritable project and say the money was crucial and is better spent on better constrictions between different parts of northern England. Others, such as the Stop HS2 Pressure Group, said it will cause congestional environment damage. Now, the Prime Minister has said HS2 was all at the heart of government plans, and is also to be build back better and would form the spine of the country's transport network. But the HS2's transportal potential goes even further. They added that by creating hundreds of apprenticeships and thousands of skilled jobs, HS2 will find up economic growth and help to remnants opportunity across the country for years to come. Now, HS2's main works contracted to the West Midlands and the Boulder Beauty, the Widebound Adventure, has said that the experts, what do they know? I know experts don't know very much, but the experts is one of the biggest restrictions in the West Midlands over the next 2 years. Up to